The franchise hot seat is for information and entertainment purposes and is not an offer to sell franchises. If the hot seat introduces you to a franchise concept that interests you, you must do your own due diligence before making an investment. Welcome to the Franchise Hot Seat. I'm your host, John Hayes, Director of the Franchise Center at Palm Beach Atlantic University. In this episode of the Hot Seat, we feature an emerging franchise concept that will be evaluated by our dream team. At the end of the session, each member will score the potential of the concept by holding up a cold seat, warm seat, or hot seat. Let me introduce you to the dream team for this presentation. These elite executives are superstars in their industries and in franchising. CEO of United Franchise Group, Ray TITUS. Co-founder of Crank Enterprises, a venture marketing company, Brian MARGOLIS. Vice President of Global Franchise Development and Integration for TBC Corporation, Lenny Valentino Jr. President and CEO of MFV Expositions, Tom Portesy. And now, sitting in the hot seat, Cliff Kennedy, CEO of Frios Pops.
My name is Cliff Kennedy, CEO of Frios Gourmet Pops. And the story begins of how I found out about Frios is I would get stuck in traffic at the bottom of Old Shell Road every day. Coming home from work, and I see this trailer with kids everywhere lined up getting popsicles, and one day I just decided to stop and give one a try, and it was the key lime pie flavor that we had. And that is the day that set me on the trajectory of where I am today, because it completely changed my life. I had to be a part of this company, and I didn't know how. So as a couple months went by, kept buying more pops and really getting into it. And I went to the most risk-averse person who I'd ever met in my life, who was my father-in-law. And I said, there's something about this company, I got to be a part of it. And so then I went to the current franchisee, said, I'd love to be a part of this. She was actually getting out at that time because of her career was taking her in another path. Through a little bit of negotiation back and forth, May 1st of 2018, I took over as a franchisee from Mobile to Pensacola, running Frios to run the territory while having a full-time job in my family business as sales director. So just a few months into it, I realized I didn't like how the company was being run as a whole. There was zero support to the franchisee. We're an island by ourselves. There was no communication. I couldn't talk to the franchisees. And so then in August of 2018, I reached out to the owner of the company, said, I'd like to buy the company. He called me back the next day. We started negotiating, and then December 21st of 2018, with the help of investors, I took over the company. It was in Gadsden, Alabama. We have now immediately moved it to Mobile, Alabama, in a 30,000 square foot facility, brought in great team members. We built out an unbelievable facility here with better equipment, new equipment, assembled a team, immediately started working on my franchise operations. Then we went into obviously what has happened in the pandemic in the past year. So my first year of 2019 was all about assemble the team, clean up the books, see what was what, and move a facility in the middle of the peak season for us. And then 2020 was supposed to be all about the franchisees. That kind of changed, but for the better. So you don't know what you don't know. So we thought brick and mortar was the way, in a little bit of a hybrid, by going to an event, because we're an event-based business. Once the pandemic hit, we had to mobilize. So everyone had their carts and trailers, and they were going to the neighborhoods, going to the consumer and the customers, rather than them coming to our brick and mortars. And it was literally our aha moment. Like, we're a mobile franchise system. We just never knew it. So during the pandemic, we rewrote our entire FDD to be a mobile franchise system. Since then, we have been all in on the marketing and campaigning behind that. And the attraction that we've had of the people signing up since July of last year when that launched has been amazing. The success. I mean, we signed up 6 people just in the past week alone. We've signed up now, I think, 15 new franchisees in this new system. Firmly believe that in the next couple of years, so we have around 42, 43, according to if we get the final paperwork in today or tomorrow on a new franchisee. But we're excited about that growth. but we firmly believe in the next year or two that we'll be closer to around that 300 mark. We can support it because our system is completely simple. Everyone has the persona of you got to be a specific person. We have people that are semi-retired that don't fully want to retire, but they want to do something with their kids and their grandkids, and they're riding around in their vans. We also have the young entrepreneurs that are coming in. It's like, you know what? I don't need this big investment of millions of dollars of this place. Okay, perfect. They get a van. They put some popsicles in there and they go sell, and we give them the infrastructure. It's a pre-packaged product that they never touch. So they're not inspected by the FDA. They don't have to have all these health restrictions. So when they realize how simple our system is, that's the attraction as well, besides just being an amazing product. And I will say, through all of the 50 plus flavors that we offer throughout the year and very seasonal, we don't focus on the product. It all goes back to the time I was finishing up a run after work one day, about a year and a half ago now. And my 90-year-old neighbor stopped me. She said, Cliff, those pops you gave me yesterday made me feel like a little girl again. And I was like, that's it. We don't sell popsicles. We sell what that popsicle makes you feel. So it's always been around that dad that's been stressed at work, but has his kids, and he just unloosens that tie just a little bit. Stress melts away. You're focused on your kids. You're focused on what that felt like when you had one when you were a child, and you can experience that with your children now. So that's what we sell. We sell an experience in all different shapes and sizes and flavors. So that's us. We're looking to expand. And so right now what we're doing is we're really trying to figure out, because we are a low cost operation, we really don't get into those broker networks. They're not really looking at us. We're trying to change that up right now with our new FTD and ramp up our territory fee so we can attract a better buyer, a better franchisee, maybe that can grow their territory. But maybe that's what we're looking for right now, is how do we really get that brand awareness out there, like some of the people that we see, because we can support that growth. It's super simple. We're not operational a million different things. So that's what we're trying to do, is like, how do we go from 20 a year to maybe 50 or 100 a year that we can fully support? So we're ready to put fuel on this fire of this company and take it to the next level. Thank you.
All right, Cliff. Well, welcome to the hot seat. And man, I love it. I love the brand. I love your energy. I love the story, right? And you're right. You know, we're not just, what are we buying? We're not just buying popsicles, and we're creating experiences and bringing families together and all of the above. So I really like where you're going with this. It's a very low entry, easy entry operation, scalable. Sales wise, I'm not sure where you're standing as a, potential franchisee. What can one expect? Yes, it's a low cost to enter, but how are your sales?
So we don't have an item night team because we just transitioned this to a mobile franchise system. But what I can tell you is a couple of experiences that we've had. We're already seeing the numbers come in for our first full season. Obviously, during the pandemic, being an event-based business, sales weren't great. They did the best we could. We had some that even grew their territories because they were going and mobilizing to them. So what I can tell you is, there's those days where it's very, very low cost. We have a fixed royalty because just how we operate and the cash flow that comes in and out is hard to manage for some of the franchisees, but we're getting better and better at that. I've had some franchisees sell pops and they make $19,000, $20,000 in a day at a music festival or an event, because you have that captured audience. You have these big corporate events that they might want 2,000, 3,000 popsicles at $3, $4 a piece. So you get those big hits, but also having that revenue come in from those daily sales. So can't really go into a lot of detail about it.
Yeah. So I think what you're touching on too is, and one of the things is expansion, right? Because you're at a low entry point in terms of investment, you're not able to get in on some of the broker networks and things like that. My broker friends will probably, not like what I'm about to say, but you can do what you're trying to do without the broker network. Okay. I generally believe that. I think there's a lot of organic ways as well as scalable ways that you can build into your program to do franchise development, right? You're a young brand. It's already attractive. Okay. There's other opportunities. There's franchise expos out there. Tom can touch on that. He's, with MFE Expositions. There's so many other ways that you can do that, not to mention the digital era that we live in with, scaling that model with digital advertising and identifying those entrepreneurs and opportunities. You actually have, I think, a niche area where if you take your operation and the type of business that you're in, and you actually go into partner with some groups, whether it's in education, first responders, things like that, what it'll be to kind of kill two birds with one stone, right? So one, it's good for your business, right? Getting the brand out there, more awareness, maybe partnering up and doing good in the community. And number two, on the back side of that, if you look at who is a great qualified franchisee, right? Who's going to buy into that type of system? You're going to see some stats and trends of, it's not just business folks. It's not just that. It's, it's retired first responders. It's retired educators. And if you start to really create an opportunity and an awareness campaign with those groups, it could be good for your business. It could open up new doors for franchise opportunities on a very organic way. There's so much upside to what you're doing here. I really like where you're headed with it. From a manufacturing standpoint and scalable, how much between the mobile, the vans that you're using, the trucks, to the process of the popsicles, how much of that is proprietary, or can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, so I'm vertically integrated. So I have my own manufacturing facility out here. So it's we have the capability of doing millions upon millions of popsicles a year. And we have a very streamlined system where they're ordering weekly. We're getting the popsicles out to them on dry ice all across the country. We're looking at extra distribution centers further west, so we can even expand a little bit further and get those shipping days down. But that's part of our expansion process as well. So it's a streamlined process, and all our flavors, it's unique. I mean, my son, I lost a serious game of paper, rock, scissors to him, and he wanted blue raspberry, so we developed blue raspberry, and now it's one of our top 5 pops. That's what I love about this business. Like, innovation comes from wherever. It's a kid, it's an adult, of new flavors that we get to try and expand and grow this business.
And one quick little note here on, because you're kind of coming in, you bought into the system originally as a franchisee. So you've got a number of franchisees out there. Are they, with the changes that you're making right now and implementing that, are you able to basically internal communication wise, get them on board, scale it quickly, because you have the opportunity to build from the inside out as well. Getting those folks on board, becoming those ambassadors, making them part of your program, part of your franchise development can as well, kind of spring forward a little boost for you.
Yeah, exactly. So I think the last 5 vans that we've had customized have all come from franchisees that have brick and mortars, but they see the path going forward is to mobilize. And so that's what we're doing. It's like, here's the opportunity moving forward. So you've got this unbelievable high rent. Why don't you fix that rent with a van that you can now mobilize? You don't have to worry about having 2 people working there. This is a 1-person operation. So they've seen that. They're transitioning, trying to get out of leases in some situations. But some of them love their brick and mortar because it's in a very strategic location, very low rent. They just want to have the opportunity to have both. So a lot of my franchisees are believing in what we're creating and giving them the support to say, this is us moving forward.
I definitely see a scalable model here. I like what I'm hearing. Last question really is just more territory based. What does that look like in terms of how expansive is the territory?
Yeah, so franchisees get a territory around 200,000 people, give or take, but that's the kind of size. We do it by zip codes. We put in our mapping service. We look at all the different demographics, make sure it's a suitable neighborhood, because we're not selling a $1 popsicle. We're selling them $4, sometimes $5 at a specific event or whatever. So we know there's a certain demographic that can afford to pay that $4 and $5 just for one popsicle. But we understand that. And so, but it's exactly to your point.
Well, let me jump in here, Brian. I think you made some excellent points. And Cliff, I want to first tell you, I thought you did an outstanding job on your presentation. And you've got a lot of really, really good things to be proud of, that, going from buying a franchise to buying a franchise company to moving it and expanding it. You've got a lot of energy. And I think that can lend itself really, really well to this industry and business. And that's fantastic. And so I don't really have a but there are some areas that I think you may want to consider as you go along. To me, I look at the name first, and whenever I look at branding, for some reason I want to say Frios Pops, not Frios Pops, and Frios Pops rolls out of my mouth a lot easier, and so I don't know I'm assuming that would be wrong to say Frios Pops or whatever, but just some little things I think. First, how much does it cost? Because you're making the pops and you're selling them to your franchisees. So what do you sell the pops to the franchisees for?
So it kind of varies, and we have them scaled like not a good, better, best, but different, like seasonal pops, kid pops. And we just launched this in the past 2 weeks. It was always $1.25, somewhere around there to the franchisees, but it's give and take. Sometimes they're less. There's some that are very, very gourmet that have a lot of inclusions in it. So we have to charge a little bit more. So on average, anywhere from that $1.25 range.
And what does it cost you to make the pop?
I can't tell you that on TV. I can tell you off. Very proud.
So obviously everybody knows there's a markup, and so you've got something there. But then what does the franchisee sell the pop for if they're buying it at $1.25? Yeah, so they've got a couple of different price points. So some of them are. I have one franchisee, very low margin. So he sells them around $3, $2.75, but he's high volume. He's our highest volume. I have some that sell them for $4, but they're still doing great because they have a different demographic. We do also something I came in and wanted to do for my franchisees. So I give all of my franchisees little 2-foot bunker freezers. They're able to wholesale it to everyone. So I call that their mailbox money. So I have one franchisee and I give it to them. All they have to do is pay for shipping unless they want to come pick them up. I had one franchisee come by and get 28 bunker freezers and put them out in their territory. And now they have somebody going around managing all their wholesale accounts. They might sell those at $2.25, but there's little to no work. You're just picking up a phone. Hey, I need more popsicles. Perfect. Deliver them. Yeah. I mean, retail's got to be 3 times or more. And wholesale should be double or more, depending on the scenario. But I was going to ask about the wholesale. Anybody doing it into the breweries or any of that? Have you gotten anybody into that area?
It's big business for us. Is pop tails are what they're called. So it's I'm guilty of it. We have an amazing caramel sea salt, and I've been known to call it my adult fun dip. So I'll dip it in my bourbon or whatever it may be, or you see the women putting it in their vodka with the pink lemonade and stirring it around. I mean, I had a very good friend of mine text me just a couple of days ago and said, hey, I got a Friday night event. We need more popsicles. We all put them in our cocktails. I was like, perfect. So it's just fun and novel. But yeah, we partner up. We had one brewery call us and it's like, hey, I want to get the alcohol out of it, but I want to make, pops with our beer.
Very good. Last question, Cliff. Really, a total investment for someone buying a franchise is how much, and how much is the franchise fee?
So the franchise fee is currently $15,000. That's completely changing. So we're ramping that up to $35,000 for 1 unit, $50,000 for 2, $65,000 for 3. And so we need a better, more capitalized franchisee that's able to scale, because we're having more multi-unit people come in right now. So we just needed to up that a little bit to attract a little higher net worth individuals. But look, I mean, right now our van, we just dropped that from $87,000 to $76,000.
How much is the total investment, Cliff?
You're looking less than $100,000.
Okay. Well, very good. I think you're off to the races here, and it sounds real positive.
I appreciate that.
Cliff, this is Lenny Valentino. First, congratulations on what you've been able to accomplish with the business, where you are right now, where you're going. This energizes me. One, I've lived it. I've done it. I understand the sector extremely well. So some of the challenges which you are mentioning just becomes opportunities. So when I look at frozen dessert, I know what we were able to do in a past life, and we did it very successful to bring it to a top 100 worldwide. So in doing that, and some of the questions I'm going to ask you is, you mentioned with regards to the franchisee that you're trying to attract, and you mentioned brokers and everything. So with regard to what you're trying to accomplish, How do you sell it? Is it a way of life? I've heard the term happiness, enjoyment, everything that's involved that brings a smile resonates with all of us. And I've also heard that, there's a possibility out there you're looking for different investment categories, and you mentioned brokers. I know personally, my business today, we utilize brokers. We have to. I know from my past experience in the frozen dessert industry, I did not pay one broker fee, and we grew the heck out of it because we understood who we wanted to go after and what was the way of life. So give me an ideal scenario. You have a present composition of franchisees that you took over. You have new that have been brought in. But who is your target? Because you can't be the target of everyone if you truly want to maximize your opportunity.
Yeah, and that's a great question. And that's part of me. I've never been in franchising. My franchise director was the first ever franchisee that I brought onto this company. She's now my franchisee director because she brought on 6 people just while she was just a franchisee. So we're learning this system together. I've got an unbelievable person in Meg Roberts, who's on my board right now, who's helping me kind of get this franchising lane together. And so as we develop these things, we're learning. It's, if I see, during the pandemic, Delta said they're laying off all of these pilots. So we put some strategic categories out there of attracting pilots and trying to get them in there. So once we see articles out there, we try to hijack the system in a way and put strategic targeted marketing towards them in our posting. So, the basics of what we need someone that's outgoing, energetic, and has a sales background. That's a simple thing that we nail it down to. If you can get that, because you've got to make the calls. People aren't coming to you. We're not Starbucks when people are beating down the door at 5 a.m. You've got to make the calls to land the event. So around that salesperson mentality and the ability to do that and pick up the phone and call, we can get a lot of different people around that. So that's what our messaging goes beyond that is like, that's what we really gravitate towards.
Understood. And I understand the components. Right now, you're the manufacturer of the hero product and use the distribution hub of the franchise system out there accordingly. So explain to me, you have 50 plus flavors. What does your top 10 generate in sales of all your SKUs? And if you could explain that to me.
Yeah, so it's a little different. And I'd much rather, because how I've got this, I've got a holding company, and then I have franchising, which is different from my manufacturing. So when I talk about my manufacturing numbers, they're not all on the FDD because we have another side of the business to that as well. So be more than happy to talk to you offline, but I just don't want that to be public information.
Understood. And that's what, so whenever I look at some type of a franchise system, and everyone that's on here that has the experience, there's a few items that I look at very quick. I want to know, what's the level of investment? What's the item 19? What's the payback that I could achieve? And then what's my target market that we sell it? So in viewing that, and I see that in your FDD, you really didn't have that many transfers. So that's great. As far as that, you didn't have any, you had a positive unit count. You have some lofty goals at 300. It seems like you built your back office and also your manufacturing to ramp up and go accordingly. So if you were to target, and I want to be precise, what regions are you looking at for that growth? Because I found in my past when we were growing a frozen dessert company, I took what I call as a freight train approach, and I did one state at a time because I had the supply chain marry up with the growth that married up with my back office, and then we were on trajectory that we just grew the heck out of it. So explain to me your tactical plan of your next steps, because I don't want to, sometimes there's difficulty with franchisors that are new, in which they have the Gumby effect and they try to be everything to everyone and they pay for that in the future. So if you could just answer that, sir.
Yeah, exactly what you just said. Very, very strategic in where we're trying to grow. We want that Southeast, nothing higher than, we just signed up somebody in West Virginia. That's about as high as we'll go. We're big in Texas. We're not going past the Rockies. Right now, all of our focus is in the state of Florida and the Carolinas because we think there's tremendous growth. We have 4 franchisees in the entire state of Florida. We should have 50 in the state of Florida. From what one of our competitors have, but we offer more revenue streams beyond what they're capable of doing. Specifically that big industry that is shaved ice, but we allow for more opportunity in a much simpler system. So very strategic. Right now, all of our social media is going basically to the state of Florida. And I will say we're doing college towns as well, just in the Southeast.
Mm-hmm. And my last question, just pose, you mentioned the mobile aspect, and I understand what the cost of brick and mortar and everything that entities endure today. So you got into the mobile aspect. You've had a test during 2020. How would you rank your test? Successful? And out of those 5 that you mentioned, how many are really growing at a trajectory that you're happy about?
All of them, like compared to the people that are hybrid with brick and mortar versus van, and then some people that just have the van, as the numbers start to come in, especially coming in now, we're in our peak season. The numbers are much better for them just being in the van system, because I go back to what you said, and it's like, you didn't see a lot of transfers, but there are going to be more in our books if the people that don't adopt to our new future, because the previous owner, was just signing up people, wasn't the right fit, just trying to grow the company. But we're trying to find the right people that are part of this, what we call our Frios family. We're just not bringing anyone in. So I'm personally invested in this company more than anyone else. So it's a fun opportunity to have just people that believe in the system. And there might be some attrition, but we're helping them out as much as we can.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Excited.
Hey, Cliff, how are you? It's Tom Portesy.
Yeah,
I
great.
want to first, as the other fellas did, congratulate you. It's a heck of a quick journey in 3 years.
Thank you.
What you've done. But I just want to touch on a couple of different things. One of the things you mentioned is you want to upgrade the franchisees, right? You want a more sophisticated franchisee. Could you tell me about your fixed royalty? Because the more sophisticated franchisees are going to say, well, there is a markup, as Ray said, between the manufacturing and the selling. And on top of that, you have a royalty. There are franchise companies that just deal on the markup. There's some perfume and some makeup franchises. It's just the markup, right? So tell me about your fixed your fixed royalties, please.
Yeah, so we just charge them their first year in the new, I'm speaking about the new FDD that's about to roll out. So we'll charge them $400 a month. And then after year 2, we charge them $500 a month fixed royalty. I have some that go well above that with their numbers they crunch and send to us. They'd be paying a lot more than that. But then they also just pay a $500 marketing fee annually as well. So we just understand, I didn't want to be a big brother to them. That's great revenue for us. It gets them knowing exactly what they're going to be sending in every single month. And that's what I try to do. I wake up every single day saying, how can I make my franchisees better? And how can I make myself better as a franchisee? And this is the first thing I implemented, was a fixed royalty.
So if a franchisee, there could be a minimum, but if a franchisee has to sell an exclusive product that they're buying from you, do you think in the future you'll just factor that in and not worry about royalties? Is it something you'd think about?
It's just, like I said, I've got 2 different companies, how this is operated. And so, I surround myself with people that are much, much smarter than me and where we're trying to take this company. So it's not me making all these decisions. It's people that have been in this industry before and know how to grow great companies. And so this is kind of the advice of them and my board and everyone else as well.
So I want to quickly just circle back to what you said in the video that we all had an opportunity to watch. And one of the things you said is that you're looking for ways to generate more leads. And as Lenny said, he's used brokers and didn't. Ray could probably tell you 100 different ways. But you pointed out something, that your new director of franchise sales, your new director of development, was a franchisee. And that's a really inexpensive way to sell franchises, through referrals. So I think you're going to find lots and lots of different ways to engage the people in your business, franchisees, to incentivize them to, you have to disclose it, but to incentivize them to help grow the business.
You're exactly right. And a lot of our leads and expansion has come from within, and that's what we're looking for. So yeah, as we develop that out and finding what this fit is, as we transition to the next growth phase that we have for this company, is getting that dialed in and saying thank you and appreciation. Our newest franchisee just came from Columbia, South Carolina yesterday. That was a referral from a franchisee. So very much, I just got to dive in on that a little bit more.
So also, you weren't happy with the support when there were 28 units. You were very unhappy with the support. You didn't think it made sense. You felt like on an island. Your goal was to get 300 in a couple of years. What big changes are you going to make? What changes are you going to make to have the bandwidth to support 300? that they didn't have when you had 28.
And that's what's so great about it. Like, I've got the most amazing team that I have assembled, I believe, in this industry. They're not industry vets, but they're like me. They're passionate about this business. They bleed these popsicles. And so what we've put in is video content, the training content, the operating manual, the video conference calls that we have that were never there before, chat rooms, all these kind of things that we're integrating to support that franchisee family and let them grow together. And so what we've done is we've transitioned this whole franchise system from what was the past to the future. Like, we are a prepackaged product in a very simple system that is easy to manage, doesn't take a lot of work. So the way we support that is we're going to keep putting out and rolling out weekly video content, how to train this, how to do that, who do you call, when do you call them, how do you call them? We're like building up that manuscript for them just to read off. The only pinch point we have right now, but we've kind of working through that, is Ford can't keep up with the vans that we need. And so once Ford catches back up later this year, that's when we're positioned to ramp up that growth. So we can work with 100 at a time or 1,000.
Well, I got to tell you, you've got so much, going into this right now. You've got the momentum. You seem to have all the answers. I wish you a ton of luck. I think it's going to be great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I agree with Tom all the way. I mean, everything, you're talking my language here. I think the brand is there, the scalability is there, the fact that you're focused on the Southeast. I'm sitting here in Florida right now, and I can't wait to see more of this brand in our neighborhood. I'm all in with this one. I'm giving you a hot seat right here.
Well, you know what, Cliff, I think you do have a lot of the answers, but I do think it's still a little, it's exciting, but you've got to get a proof of this model that you have now with the, delivery trucks and a mobile franchise opportunity. You don't have a year behind you here with that. And so I know the pandemic kind of brought that idea about. I think that's got to be expanded on. I do think you have some opportunity to offer some maybe restaurants that are out there a dessert that they could, buy that wholesale or whatever. I think there's some other opportunities. I look at this and I was going to go, half. I think you've got it here. You've got a great opportunity. It's a full fire, but it's a full hot seat. But I think there are some little things that you need to tweak and take to heart and take it to the next level and accomplish what you want to accomplish.
No, I appreciate that feedback.
Cliff, when I think about this, I think about my past and I think about what we did, and I know exactly what I learned from, what the opportunities were, and what you can do for futuristic goals. I think if you zone in, you understand where you want to go for your targeted franchisee. I think if you have the back support and you have the front visionary support along with your hero, and you stay true to who you are and what you're all about, it could be a fun ride. And it's something. So in looking at the hot seat, I know this sector, understand it, would like to have more discussions. I give it a hot because it's a pretty cool category and very interested.
Hey, Cliff, listen, I think there's going to be some challenges with the mobile aspect. There's tons of benefits, but there's some challenges. And I know that because we dealt with the mobile franchise associations and so on. And it sounds like you're on top of much of that. I'd be happy to share some thoughts that I've seen, some hurdles that they've had to clear. But all in all, I think the excitement, I think the passion is going to get you to where you need to go. As Brian said earlier, one of the big people in your space, maybe the largest, did a ton of trade shows, not just ours, but trade shows in general, because your product is one that people want to see and touch and taste. And Ray could tell you that, they had a really cool way of doing it. What you're going to determine at some point is, what is it going to cost you to sell a franchise? Whether it be compensating a franchisee, doing a show, broker, and so on. And when it's really humming, you're going to use a lot of different things. But, my advice to you at this point is make sure you know and you find out what is it costing you in each of these mediums to sell a franchise. What's your acquisition cost? And make sure that the support is where it needs to be as you're growing. And it sounds like it is. So like everyone else, I'm going to make it a clean sweep and give you a full flame. And can't wait to watch this thing grow.
I appreciate it.
There you have it. A hot seat all around. Congratulations. You did a great job. I like where you're headed. Keep up the good work. And I'm sure we'll all circle back with you. And we'll see this brand scale very quickly in the near future here, Cliff. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate the time and the opportunity.
Thanks for joining us for the Franchise Hot Seat. And remember, our purpose is to inform and educate. We are not selling franchises. Do your homework before investing in any business. Franchising is a powerful methodology for business ownership, and it may be the best way for you to own a business and build personal wealth. But franchising is not without risks, and it's not for everyone. Some quick thank yous to our sponsors. Since its founding in 1999 by IFA Hall of Fame honoree Tariq Fareed, Edible has been at the forefront of supporting franchising and entrepreneurship as a path to the American dream. Support your local Edible franchise outlets. Transworld Business Advisors is the world leader in the marketing and sales of businesses, franchises, and mergers and acquisitions. They've got 240 offices worldwide. Accurate Franchising is a full-service franchise consulting and development company that assists brands with developing franchise business models, along with assisting existing franchisor brand expansion through franchise sales services. Midas Auto Repair Stores, founded in 1956, has grown to over 2,100 locations worldwide. They are ranked #1 in their category by Entrepreneur Magazine's Franchise 500. Since 1962, customers have trusted Big O Tires for their automotive needs. Big O Tires is expanding in your area as it continues to add to its base of more than 450 locations nationwide. You want to sit in the hot seat? Visit TITUSCenterForFranchising.com and let us hear from you. I'm John Hayes, leading the TITUS Center for Franchising, where we're educating the next franchise generation.